Hello guys, how are we doing? Welcome back to the channel. Season 4 Reloaded is here today and we're going to be talking through exactly what you can expect out of today's patch as we read through the patch notes together. We're not going to be reading through the entirety. I'm going to be focusing on only what is Black Ops 6 ranked play related. So if you want to check out whether it's Warzone, Zombies, or the rest of multiplayer, I've left a link down in the description below for you to have a read through yourself. It is a long one. It will take your time, which is why I'm here to hopefully summarize what people want to see out of Black Ops 6 ranked play. We're going to be covering things such as a completely new map that's going to be added, new maps returning to the ranked play pool, some buffs to the attachments which are going to affect every single gun in ranked play, and then a little bit of a movement quality of life update, which I think is beneficial to our experience on ranked play and generally Call of Duty. Now, throughout today's video, if there's anything you hear that you think, oh, that's surprising, that's pretty good, let me know down below. If there's anything you hear that makes you go, hang on, I don't think we needed that change, or that's not a great map to be added, again, let me know. I want to hear thoughts down below. I'm intrigued to hear opinions about today's update. For me, I think it's pretty good. I think the previous few updates have been a little bit lackluster, so I'm quite optimistic with this one. Let's get into it. We're going to be first of all talking about a completely new map that they're going to be added. I did mention it in my previous patch note update, and if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see me post updates about it already, and that is the return of Fringe. Season 4 Reloaded comes with Fringe, which was a Black Ops 3 map. It is a pretty good map. It was a fan favorite, I would say so. It was a wall running map, so it will play a little bit differently. I'm intrigued to see how it plays without all the wall running, especially down that train side. I've had a look at the layout, and it seems to be almost exactly the same, but obviously pause the video, have a look and see if the windows are in the same position, whatever. But for me, I feel like this is a great addition to ranked play to real spice it up. And of course, I'm going to be bringing out my map guides, spawn setup guides, all the guides that I'd normally do for the other maps with Fringe. So make sure you stick around and subscribe to the channel if you want to get better at Fringe before anybody else, other than the other subscribers to the channel, obviously. We're going to then see return of... So Fringe is going to be, Hardpoint and Search and Destroy. Not going to be a control map. We are going to see S&D also gain the addition of Vault and Skyline, which are two okay maps for S&D. I don't think I like them too much, but hey, it's variety, we take it. And then finally on Control, we're going to have Rewind back in action. Joe, just to summarize, you're going to have Fringe Hardpoint, Fringe S&D, Vault S&D, Skyline S&D, and then Rewind Control added to the rest of our map pool. So we're going to be playing different maps on different modes, and it's going to spice it up a little bit, which I think is a good change. We're now going to be focusing on the attachment changes they mentioned in today's update. Now, I will be doing an updated class setup video that you're going to see very shortly on the channel, so make sure you stick around for that, because this does change or give us a bit more variety in the setups that we can use. So make sure you stick around again for that. Just read what they've said here and why they're doing it. So they say their focus in Season 4 Reloaded is attachment tuning, and when it comes to attachments balance, our goal is not for every attachment to be viable on every weapon. That said, we want every attachment to have a place across that the many builds and playstyles in Black Ops 6. So essentially, they've got portfolio-wide improvements to attachments that have lower usage. So for the attachments that people just literally aren't using, they're buffing them, and then they're targeting weapons that probably could be played slightly differently with an attachment change. So they're using the example of a C9 here, which obviously we can't use in ranked play, but that's generally why they've changed things. So I'm going to be talking about two in particular. So first of all, the AMES Buff, or the AMES changes I'm going to be covering in a little bit greater detail, as well as the Jackal. I will leave the screenshots for the GPR and the other two weapons, the other two SMGs as well, for you to pause and have a look if you want. But AMES and Jackal being the most used guns, I don't want you to be here for ages. You'll be bored. Let's cover the AMES first. So you're going to see a lot of changes here. Recoil springs, a buff to them, which is going to be great for those of you who use it. Obviously, people don't always use it, but that's a great addition there. It goes from 7 to 10% for both vertical and horizontal. The Gain Twist buff is also really nice. Gain Twist is the barrel that only does bullet velocity, and we're going to see an increase of 5% from 35 to 40 in that area, which means you might not need to use overpressured rounds. So if you're an overpressured and Gain Twist user, the buff in the Gain Twist might mean you can actually then play with the recoil springs, which have also been buffed as well, which is really nice. You then see the short barrel, which no one uses anyway. That's got a little bit of a buff there. Ported compensator is something I use anyway. It's really nice, and it's going to hopefully lean more people towards a ported compensator. That's been buffed quite substantially. The lightweight only does idle sway, and it has a huge buff. So I'm not sure about the lightweight foregrip being used massively, but what it does do has been enhanced, okay? But again, I don't think it's going to be enough for people to use it. The precision foregrip does idle sway plus horizontal recoil, and it's got that buff of 10% in precision in the idle sway improvement. So actually, it might not be as strong as the vertical when it comes to recoil control, but when it comes to idle aim stability, it might make people change it. It might make people use that over the vertical foregrip if that's something they use. So I think that's a good change. Finally, the ergo grip has also been buffed quite substantially, and it's used a lot. Ergo's typically, I think, the most commonly used rear grip for the AMES, and the only other alternative one I see people using quite considerably is the quick draw. So I think the ergo is going to continue to be used anyway, because what it does that separates it from the quick draw is improved from this update, which is good. Then you have the CQB grip, which no one uses because it doesn't do anything to ADS, but that's had a little bit of a buff as well. And we also see the Kompakt stock going from being worse than the Infiltrator, which is the most common one, by from 0.3 meters per second to 0.2 meters per second difference. Okay, so it's a huge, almost a 0.1 meter per second improvement there, but it's not going to make much of a difference. Again, it's probably worth trying out because it also has the added benefit of flinch, but it just closer aligns the combat and the Infiltrator stock, which people mostly use for the AMES. You've got then the GPR buff, which I'm going to just leave here. It's a lot of information, so you can pause and read it if you would like. So I'm going to give you the chance to do that now. And then we're going to move on to the Jackal. So the Jackal has a little bit more of a limitation when it comes to the attachments you can use. So a lot of this stuff here, you actually can't even select on your gun. The gain twist is the only barrel you can use, and that has had a buff. So anyone using the Jackal, and they're using the gain twist, which, as I say, is the only one they can use, they're going to feel a difference in bullet velocity there. It's going to increase the range in which they get their hit scan, which is going to be lovely. Again, the short barrel can't be used. No compensators can be used on the Jackal in ranked play, but they have had a buff anyway. The Ranger typically is used for movement speed when it comes to the Ranger foregrip, and then even vertical foregrip is used when the Ranger is less preferred. So I do not think that the lightweight or the precision grip, even after this buff, are going to be used massively. Idle sway isn't something people strive to improve on their submachine gun. If they did, they'd just use the AR. So I don't think the benefit, the buff in lightweight and precision foregrip are going to change things substantially here. However, we do have the combat stock. So combat stock is essentially similar to the Infiltrator, but it has the added benefit of flinch resistance as well. And that essentially tightens the gap. This buff, tightens the gap from 0.2 meters per second to 0.16 meters per second. So not a huge difference, there's less flinch. So again, this might be worth trying over the Infiltrator if you feel like you're getting a little bit of a flinch from when people shoot you. You've then got the PP919 buff and the Kompakt buff, which I'm going to leave up on screen for a couple of seconds. So if you want to pause it, you're more than welcome to do so just here. And that is it for the weapon balancing changes. Now, if you want any further details and you want full-on analysis of how this all works, let me know, and if there's enough people after it, I can do a little bit more of an analysis on it. But generally, they're the main things you're going to want to remember. As I said, these attachments on every gun have been changed, some slightly better than others. So if you're not generally interested in ranked play and you want to know what the other attachments changes are, you can do so using the link down below in the description. The final thing we're going to cover actually today is a little bit of a quality of life change in movement. It's nothing crazy. You've got basically an improved player collision. So sometimes when you're running next to a teammate, you can get caught at doorways and it can cause you to die or get stuck, especially when teammates are prone or in other sort of areas like that. So nice little quality of life change there. Not going to be game changing, but it's going to be when it used to happen, it's not going to happen as much. And so it's probably not going to be something you notice, but you're just generally going to have a happier time playing because you're more in control of what you're moving without enemies like bumping your left, right, and rhubarb. So that's it. It's a relatively small update. We've only really got new maps, a couple of new map sets, changes in attachments, and a little bit of a quality of life change in the movement. But I think it's needed. I think you're at this time of the year, we need it to be fresh. Everyone's a bit complacent about the maps that we've currently got. Can be a bit boring. So I am fully here, and I am seeing this as a positive update and a win. Enjoy the rest of your gameplay that you've got in the background here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Ciao for now.
Hardpoint locked down.
Good game. GG's.
Way to make me proud.
Ah, finally.